So I pulled out my Korg D1200 that's been mostly sitting in the closet for the last 10 years. About 17 years ago, I made a song about drug addiction. Now, I've never actually been addicted to drugs, but I kind of came close whenever I dislocated my shoulder back in the early 2000s, and I was given prescription painkillers. Unfortunately, the doctor was intelligent enough to not continue to give me the prescription, not using that as an excuse. It would have been my problem. But anyway, I wasn't actually addicted, but I came close, and so I decided to write a song about it because I could kind of imagine what it would be like. And the song is called Black Flash. I don't even know why it's called that. It's just what I decided to name it at the time. And the style of music is not something that I even really work with these days. I have kind of mellowed out over the last several years and don't really do as much that's kind of like heavy metal like that. So, but I'm mainly here to talk about tempo maps. And what's very frustrating about some of the new equipment these days, even digital recorders, is they don't have the ability for you to alter the tempo within the same song. Take, for example, the Roland Verse Lab. Now, not everybody does that, and in fact, it's probably pretty uncommon. So I guess I can understand from a marketing aspect why they wouldn't want to spend the extra money, these companies, to incorporate that. But it's frustrating because the Roland MV30, for example, which is a machine that is 30 years old, which I happen to have, and I'll show you that later, but it gives you the option to create very intricate tempo maps if you want to. So your tempo can start out slow, go faster, go to something else. In the song that I've chosen to demonstrate tempo maps on, has 3 different tempo maps. So you kind of get to see things today that are related to what the Korg D1200 can do, and also learn about tempo maps at the same time. You can listen to the entire song. I'm not here to show off my great songwriting skills or lack thereof, but listening to it from start to finish might give you a better idea of how I use tempo maps sometimes, and how maybe it can enhance your recordings as well. Okay, a problem with this machine is that the screen is going out, or something inside of it. Something inside this machine, maybe something with a connection, is causing the screen to malfunction. So I'm going to restart the machine and we'll see if that fixes it. Alright, that looks a lot better. So what we've got here, as you can see, hopefully you can see that screen okay. If not, I'll have to recut part of this video, but the tempo to begin with is 85. So I'll start playing the song so that you can hear that. Alright guys, well, this machine is really screwing up. Unfortunately, the display keeps going out, so hopefully I can get through this video. What I'm going to do here, to get to the tempo map, you push the rhythm button. It does allow you to turn on rhythms if you want to. You can barely hear that. I'd have to adjust the volume. Okay, it starts out on the tempo map with 85 beats per minute. Let me go ahead and shut this off, because we're not using the internal rhythms. I actually recorded a drum track to this using an external drum kit that I had, not a real acoustic kit. Well, it's a real kit, but it's not acoustic. It was an electric kit, and there goes the display. Okay, well, we'll try this again. What I actually wanted to show you in this video, where you could see the tempo maps changing, didn't actually work out. And after I let this machine cool down for a while, the display did actually work, but I just wasn't confident that it was going to keep working, which is why I went ahead and recorded the 2 master tracks that I had already mastered from all the different multiple tracks that I had started with. I took that 2-track master and recorded it into the Model 12.
My hourglass is broken, the sand is spilling on the floor. Sleeping giant woken, revealing worlds to be explored. Powerful like waves in the sea, yeah, that undulate like nothing else I've seen. Was applied deep into my flesh like a bullet in my head. Horrifying dreams and internal screams that liquefy my time, and my cup spilleth over. Glorious night, the fire is hot, death is so near, dark angels appear. I felt so awesome when all of this was new to me. Now there is no freedom, I rode away my sanity. My future's looking rather bleak tonight. Exhausted is the fight that is inside. Was applied deep into my flesh like a bullet in my head. Horrifying dreams and internal screams that liquefy my mind, and my cup spilleth over. Feeling alone, down to the bone, tired of life's stone, I lay my head down. Seduction everlasting, poisoning my will to live, intensified my feelings that I had nothing more to give. It has been said that those who seek shall find salvation and forgiveness both combined. Times the needle was applied deep into my flesh like a bullet in my head. Horrifying dreams and internal screams that liquefy my time, and my cup spilleth over. Light has returned, gone is the burn. I walk a straight line with true peace of mind.
Honestly, I think that the Model 12 is going to end up being my main workhorse for recording in the future. I have some other great recorders, but the Model 12 reminds me so much of what it was like to record back whenever I had an 8-track cassette recorder, which actually, these cassettes right here were recorded on back in the mid-1990s and early 1990s. Now, something that I wanted to show you guys here, I wanted to explain these headphones. Okay, I've got my trusty Sony MDR7506s, and I recently picked up these AKG K712s, and you can see I have them both plugged in with the, and I don't always do that, but with the Model 12, you have two separate headphone volume controls. And so what I do is I will listen to my mix on the monitors, and normally I don't use these necessarily, it just depends. I have one other set of monitors with smaller speaker than these, but they work very well. I just have to turn the bass down. You may already know this, but it's really important to listen to your mixes on different types of speakers, different types of headphones if you have them available. I also use really inexpensive headphones, you know, like Apple earbuds that come with an iPhone. And I also, of course, listen back on an iPhone speakers and my iPad speakers and television speakers, you know, because the idea is that you want to try to get your mix sounding good on nearly every device that is played on. So anyway, this guy here is probably on his last leg, unfortunately, because one of the things you can do with the D1200 is you can reverse the tracks. Now, folks who have, of course, if you have a DAW, you can do this in a DAW, probably most of them, but in the old days what we used to do is we would take our cassette tape, we would record something, and then we would flip the cassette over. And whenever you're playing back, it's going backwards. While it's going backwards, you would apply reverb or delay or a combination of different effects so that whenever you turn it back the other way, you can mix the tracks with reverse reverb together with the tracks that have no reverb, and you get a really nice spooky effect. Again, you can do that with some software DAWs today, so not a big deal to many of you, but we like to do things old school when we're doing DAW-less recording.